We'll call to order the meeting for Wednesday, August 24th. If you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll give you a quick explanation of what's going to go on tonight. The sequence will be as follows. We'll hear the appeal first, and then other business will be on part of the board will happen after the appeal. You don't have to stay for the whole process. Those who speak or testify may be sworn in. This will be done by either a group or individually. Anyone addressing the board is requested to use the speaker stand, and each person is asked to give his or her name for the record and the address. All documents and photographs, if they're presented, if you have any, they will be either accepted or denied by the chairman of the board, and each person representing can also withdraw those same documents. The zoning administrator or the staff will present a brief summary of the statement of the appeal. Once the staff presentation is completed, the appellate will then have the opportunity to present their case. And then following the presentation, the chairman will ask for any favor or opposed to appeal to the case. In some instances, time limit may be, I don't think we'll have an issue with that tonight. Next, the board will then close the public portion. They'll make a motion, close the public portion. Then individual members of the board will ask questions of anyone that might have spoke or the applicant this evening. Following the questioning, the board will then make a motion either to approve or deny the appeal, and with either conditions or whatever the staff may recommend. The decision of the board is effective 30 days from the vote. And finally, with respect to us, keep ourselves calm and collective tonight, no issues, and we will not have any concerns. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Owens?
Yes, present.
Mr. Barkle?
Here.
Your microphone on? Doesn't seem like it's picking up.
Here we go.
Now it's on. Mr. Roberto?
Present.
Mr. Shutt?
Present.
Mr. Wilson?
Present. Okay. Ask that anyone that plans on speaking this evening to stand and raise your right hand. Do you plan on speaking tonight, sir? If you're going to speak, yeah, okay, very good. So if you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth before the Board of Zoning Appeals, say I do. Thank you, sir. You may be seated. So this first case this evening will be for BZA 2022-12. The applicant who's representing the property owner is requesting a variance. This is for 7.4.2 agricultural use. Location of the property is at 5100 Hubble Road. The applicant is Melissa Rice, and the property owner is Julie G. Felix. Does the staff have a presentation?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
All right. Evening, board. So the applicant is requesting a variance from subsection 7.4.2a, which is a setback requirement. The property is located in the south region of Colerain Township. Here's kind of highlighted an aerial of where the location is. It's surrounded by R5 zoning. I couldn't find out the zoning of what was south of it in Green Township, but it's very heavy residential. It's 0.618 acres. At its maximum width, it's about 100 feet wide, but it goes very deep. And there you can see some of the dimensions. And then as far as topography goes, it seems pretty flat. It gets a little hilly, kind of on the right side, but it's fairly flat for the most part. So here is the part of the zoning resolution that she would need a variance from. I'm talking about that all buildings, storage, refuse, or supplies need to be set back a minimum of 100 feet from all lot lines. And on the left and right side of the property is where she is unable to meet that setback. So the proposed plan is to put a 1 by 3 foot poultry house located approximately 30 feet from either side of her lot line. The structure meets the 100 feet setbacks of the rear lot line and the front lot line, but can't meet it on the either side of it. So the variance would be for a permit to allow for the 30 feet setback where she cannot meet the 100 feet setback. So this is the drawing that she gave us or submitted in her application. This was staff's attempt at recreating it for more visibility. Here's the variance review criteria for 4.4.2 of our zoning resolution. So the staff findings, the current use is permitted in residential zoning districts, which is where the property is located. It is of opinion of staff that granting the request would not be contrary to public interest. It seems to be common practice to not allow roosters in residential properties, especially the ones that are dense with residences around them. The current site is 0.618 acres, which in our resolution we give 6 chickens to every 1 acre. So using that formula, the applicant would have at most 3.708 chickens. So 3 healthy chickens and 1 unhealthy chicken. And then E was not applicable. So it is with staff recommendation to approve the requested variance with the condition that roosters be a prohibited animal on this property. And that concludes the staff report.
Okay, anyone have questions for the staff? I see none. Is the applicant present?
Staff does not believe the applicant is present, sir.
Okay. Is anyone speaking in favor of this application? Anyone speaking in opposition to this application? Okay, I see none. Do we want to close the public portion? Have a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public portion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Did you have a question, sir? Okay. Okay, so the public portion, so motion and second been made, no discussion. Can I have a roll call vote, please, to close the public portion?
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mr. Bartol,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Would do me last, please.
Okay. Mr. Shup,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. Okay. Anybody want to make a motion for this, to accept or deny this variance?
If I may, sir, per our zoning resolution, although the board is welcome to do whatever they'd like, it generally says you have the right to adjourn, or in this case, table the motion. But we have reached out, we mailed a letter to the applicant. The applicant's communication skills have not been what staff has usually experienced on most of these BZA cases, if I can say that in a way, just to give the board a background as much as we can on that.
Okay, well, I guess the question for staff from my perspective, if we deny this, are you going to then go and enforce it that, you know, if they build some chicken coop, that we enforce it that they have to take it down or remove it?
Could you say the last part again? I'm sorry. Would we enforce it?
So
Could we?
if we denied this and they continue to put a coop in anyway, do you have the teeth to enforce the removal of this chicken coop?
We definitely have the teeth as far as what our zoning resolution gives us. It'd be staff's opinion. I know legal staff isn't here at the moment. We would request at this moment, given that the applicant's not here, we request, and we do have a meeting scheduled for next month. We would request to schedule to table this meeting with the board's permission, just to give the process of if for some reason the applicant were to make the claim that they were not allowed to testify at the meeting, even though they received notice, just like adjoining property owners did, just to sort of check that box for us if the board would permit that.
Well, my concern is that we're being unfair to a property owner that's adjacent property. They've showed up, they did their part. Now we're going to go ahead and put a hardship on this individual that's in the audience that did show up to make him come back another month.
If the applicant had any testimony that they would like to give, we'd have that on the record in a public hearing if they would like to. I know it would be the gentleman here, sir, I'm sorry, but whatever they were speaking in favor for or in opposition to, could make the claim that they didn't have all the evidence presented. So they would have the same application, as our zoning resolution states, any additional notice is not required to be sent out by our department should a case ever be tabled. Now, whatever that means to the gentleman sitting here and to what the board is saying, by no means, I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to waste the board's time. If that, it would be staff's recommendation that we table it. And I'd ask if the gentleman has any specific objections to that or could make it next month or would like to give testimony.
Mr. Lampy, right? Is that Lampy? That's correct. So if we were to table this evening so that the applicant has the opportunity to make their case, is this going to be an inconvenience or a burden upon you for it to show up next month?
It would not be.
Okay, very good, sir.
But I will say that right now, if we're talking about 3 chickens, 3 to 4 chickens.
Can we ask you a favor, sir? Would you?
Yeah,
if
if
you
you're
would,
gonna- yeah, if you're
just
gonna
out of
speak,
formality,
just come-
please, sir. Just your name, address, and just so we have the microphone so we can get our minutes. Thank you so much,
And
sir.
since we've asked the question, it's no longer public forum, we're legitimately asking you a question, so,
Okay. Larry Lampy,
you, sir.
4922 Hubble Road,
thank you, sir.
adjacent property. If what I understand here, and based on the document I received, I didn't know what it was for, but if we're saying, based on the presentation, that we're talking about 3 3/4 of a chicken
Essentially
and no
3 chickens, yeah.
roosters in a pen, I honestly don't see a reason for me to come back. I'm fine
Okay.
with that, and I have no reason to spend money on the gas to come here and talk
sir.
further.
Well, and we appreciate you coming out this evening and taking the time. It's disappointing that the applicant didn't make that same effort.
I have a question though. You said if we're talking about 3 roosters and,
No,
I mean,
3
3 chickens and not a rooster, but this is requesting a rooster, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Oh,
No, it's that the rooster would be taken away or
It was-
something
it
would
was
be
staff's-
happening,
oh, go ahead.
I guess.
that was my confusion. So
Hamilton County doesn't allow roosters.
that's what I thought.
So, Colerain Township does not have a difference. They do not distinguish a difference between roosters and chickens. So we don't make, since we do not, our code does not make that discrepancy. Roosters are technically allowed in the township. So that seems to be a lot of concerns across many communities. And there was a call that was made here that shared that concern. So it was with our condition we felt would be adequate if we had added that as a condition to approval.
Right,
Got it.
Can I ask a question?
certainly.
Whether for this case or future ones, even though the chickens are allowed potentially, is there anything in our zoning resolution that talks about them running free in the property, or do they have to stay in the pen?
That's a good question. Well, look real quick. I believe there is a statement about they have to be fenced, but I'll double check that. At the moment, nothing comes to mind that we specifically say they have to all be fenced in.
I don't believe
But I
we
will
do.
check that. I don't think we do.
I don't think it would be required.
But
We will double check
As
that.
stated, as a condition of approval, the board could state that. So, just to clarify, because sometimes I forget, because sometimes,
Yeah.
you read something one time and, come back in a while. The conditions, the board can put on whatever conditions they see fit, as long as they're constitutional in the state of Ohio and, of course, the United States,
Yeah,
to
I'm
grant
just
that. Yep.
curious if these chickens could roam onto other properties.
That would be bad, or on the street.
I see it all the time, so.
So as a condition, it'd be a great recommendation to say, as a condition of approval, to put up a fence. But I'll double check to see. I don't think we state that explicitly.
So you don't want them to run afoul, huh?
I guess if the applicant was here, I would ask them if their property was fenced. That way they would probably stay in their yard, But
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for your time, and thank you for your input on that. And just to let you know, if anything were to change, if the board were to decide to table it, our conditions would stay the same for next month. Maybe the addition of a fence, something like that, but we wouldn't really change anything. We probably wouldn't even add that, just it's already been brought up.
Okay, so you're reading between the lines, does anyone want to make a recommendation on a movement tonight? We want to approve, deny, or table?
I'll make a motion to table.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have someone to second?
I'll second it.
Motion and second been made. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mr. Bartol,
yes.
Mr. Shupp,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. So this has been tabled to next month. The conditions will be as presented, as what you saw today will be presented next month. If you want to show up, you're more than welcome to, and just see the process and get to know your neighbor maybe, I don't know, but, yeah, so it's, yes, definitely, definitely. All right, so next business I see as unfinished business, we have none. Then we have approval of the minutes from July the 29th and June 29th and July 27th. Did we get, those are in our packet, so did we have a motion to approve those minutes?
Well, before you
We'll do one at a time, June 29th.
For June 29th, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
On the very last page, under adjournment, under roll call, under adjournment, it says that I said nay. I think I would have said yes.
I apologize, thank you for that, I will correct that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Otherwise, they are sparkling.
Okay.
No.
So would anyone like to approve, make a motion to approve the minutes from the June meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? I see none, roll call vote for the June.
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mr. Bartol,
Yes.
Mr. Shupp,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Bartol.
Yep, Mr. Roberto, yes, that's good. And then for the July 27th meeting, you guys have a chance to review that, and does anyone like to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Okay,
Second.
motion and second been made, discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mr. Bartol,
Yes.
Mr. Shupp,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes. Okay, the administrative matters, I see none. The next meeting will be September the 28th, and we're going to have at least one case. Do we have another case in addition?
Yes, we have one more as of right now.
Okay, so we have two cases for the next month, and we will adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second, roll, and discussion? See none, roll call vote?
Ms. Owens,
Yes.
Mr. Bartol,
Yes.
Mr. Shupp,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Roberto.
Yes, we are adjourned.